Yeah, you can go on YouTube and watch this tonight. No.
I may try to post it on YouTube just to see.
If we do it okay. If we screw it up, then it'll definitely be on YouTube. All right. With the clay, you actually, the only time you throw a piece is this right here. And you want to get it as near center as you can. That's not very centered, but you can see that it'll still come off. And so that'll work. Now, the moisture is your lubricant that you have for the piece. And so the technique of centering that I use my left hand and the heel of my hand here to kind of force it down into a cup. And I'm not going to let my hand ride down here. I'm going to keep it slightly above, and a little bit of moisture on here will force it into place. And if you learn to throw this technique and center with it, we call it throwing, eventually when you're doing 25, 50, 75, 100 pounds, you center the top and you go down. You will not get carpal tunnel because you're not doing this. Most students come to me from high school centering this way. That's okay, but the technique that I just showed you, and I'll show you again in a minute, works really well for making it on center without hurting your hand. Now this is still the opening process, and so what I do is I go down in with these two fingers, get in there, pull it across, and then I try to lift it up from there. I'm going to set a groove. The first thing I'll show you is a knuckle pull. I'll collar that in a little bit. And I want to get a hold of this and just come up. So you don't need a lot of speed on your wheel. And the groove is created slightly above your hand here. So you want to have it so you can lift this up like that. You form a little bit of a groove on it. Pardon? The inside hand sets up the groove over the outside knuckle. And so this time I'll use a sponge on my finger and tilt it just a little bit. Now I'll take this loose so you can see that it's touching right there and right in here. If it's just a knuckle pull, it's touching that way. Now another way you can lift is just get under this, turn your hands up, and come up like so. Now the beginning students, you're going to throw a an 8-inch cylinder. Your 8-inch cylinder is that tall. And so you want it to look a little bit better than this. So you'll go in and keep a little bit of moisture, not a lot of moisture on it. And with hairy hands and hairy arms, you got to keep a little moisture on your hand, otherwise it sticks. And then you just come up like so. And if you want to leave pull marks, you can. You can also use the back of a rib and run it against your finger, like so. Just put your finger on the inside, and my finger is right against the edge of that. And this wheel tends to speed up on its own sometimes. And so that will give you the cylinder that you need to throw. And down in here, it's about right there. It's about as thin as it is at the top, just a little bit thicker. Now I can take my hands and stretch this out on the inside against a rib, and then I can come back in here. You don't want to leave any water inside. So we can take this and just collar it in like so. And I'll show you how to take the top off. And so in cutting it, you take and put this against this hand and just come over. Well, if it wasn't easy, I couldn't do it. So I'll show you here what it looks like without using a finger inside to pull. This is just using a tool to shape it. I'm just kind of pushing it out. And we could say, okay, this is good, or we can make the top taller. We can make this go in more. We can get on here like so and lift this up using your finger. Also, you can actually use a rib, if you have one, and get in behind this and lift also with it. And when I'm not demonstrating, and everything, if you notice, my arms are braced against my body. And if you'll notice also, there is the friction causes it to go out of round. And we use a chamois. You can use a piece of a paper towel for a chamois. It's what you use to clean your cars with. And I used to bring these in and give them to the students. And by the end of the period, half of them would have lost them because they pour them into the slip barrel. And so we can come in here and raise this up and use your little finger if you want, or a tool. I usually like to have this repeat a little bit in there. Now we've got a little bigger groove down in there than I would normally want. And so sometimes you can blow that up. This one is not going to go up very much. So, and I'm a little bit out of practice because it's been about 5 weeks since I've thrown anything. These metal tools here, remember, you can use it to take a little bit of the moisture off of the side and shape this a little bit and do some things with it. Now, I'm going to use a brush and a little bit of slip. This is just clay with a little bit of cobalt in it. And then I'm going to use this tool here to put a pattern on it. I will, this will show through even if I use a red glaze on it. There's some glazes that will tend to cover it up. And there's a spot here. This will take some of that excess runoff. Because when I put this away 4 weeks ago, I put a little water in it so it wouldn't dry out. Now, you want to come under here, cut this off, and now you're ready to take the pot off. So, oops, didn't mean to. I had a little towel laying there on the floor. Didn't mean to touch your cable. Would you pull the cable over my shoulder, please? Thank you. And so you want your hands dry before you pick this up. You want to roll this around your fingers so that when you slide under it, it will cut evenly. And once you do that, just wipe your hands again a little bit. And then piece of white clay there. And then if you'll hold me the bat, lift the bat over here, hold it for me, then you can move that one over.